It was the 1990s, and little did the Spice Girls know, but they were about to change cinema forever with the release of Spice World. This was also the time when Pulp wanted to laugh along with the common people, Father Ted subverted expectations while cleaning up at award shows, and Earthbound would have revolutionized the role-playing game genre had anybody bothered to play it. Hello, my name is Cyril, and that's just one of the Super Nintendo games that we're going to be talking about as we continue our journey through Super Play's Top 600. This is the show where we're reading the verdicts and counting down every review published in the pages of Super Play magazine, even if that means stealing background locations from YouTube and pretending that I'm somewhere in the UK. In our last episode, we left off at number 101, which means that we're finally going to be hitting the double digits. The next 50 games will take us from 100 all the way down to 51, setting up an exciting finale on New Year's Eve. But look, we don't have a whole lot of time to waste, so let's jump right into the penultimate episode of Super Play's Top 600. We're going to kick things off with number 100, Super Parodius. A very funny, imaginative, and ridiculously good fun shoot-'em-up. But then, Super Parodius gets most of its marks for being funny, imaginative, and ridiculously good fun, rather than having much lastability. Number 99, Mr. Nutz. Platform gaming at its most pleasurable. Step aside, Tuffy. Mr. Nutz is the new king of the treetops. Hail, Mr. Nutz, hail! Number 98, Final Fight. A star beat-em-up, though that two-player option would help a lot. Number 97, F-Zero. Fast, furious, frantic fun. And if not quite up there with Super Mario Kart, great all the same. Buy it. Number 96, NHLPA Hockey. An excellent, fast and furious ice hockey sim, only let down by the slightly jerky graphics and the fact that the actual game of ice hockey seems fairly tactic-free. One of EA's best, though, and brilliant with two players. Number 95, Macross. It's a shoot-'em-up, it's got anime robots in it, it's well-paced, it's got lots of variety, it plays just perfectly, it's everything a Super Nintendo game should be. 3 cheers for our chums in Japan. Number 94, Boxing Legends of the Ring. A fab boxing game that's easier to pick up than most beat-em-ups, but has enough variation to outlast them all. Really bruising graphics and vicious sound put it in a different league than other fighting games. A great change from tired Street Fighter II ripoffs. Number 93, Populous 2. The game is definitely better than before, but it's one to play in the dark watches of the night. It's not action all the way. Number 92, Super Dropzone. Oh, the hopelessly lovable, blood-buzzingly furious attraction defender in a level structure. That's 10 per planet, 6 planets to beat. But oh, those cruelly appended flaws. Number 91, Super Aleste. Lovely looking and gorgeous sounding shoot-'em-up that really shows everyone that lots of sprites and no slowdown can be done. The only weak points are the game life, it's too easy, and an over-reliance on admittedly excellent weapons. This is still the current benchmark game. Number 90, Batman Returns. Konami has consolidated their position at the forefront of Super Nintendo development once again, producing both an excellent film conversion and a brilliant beat-em-up. Number 89, Clay Fighter 2. There are a wider range of characters and a decent amount of moves in the sequel. The sounds are smart too, but the jokes worn just a little thin the second time around. The gameplay's improved, but not enough to make it rank alongside the big two. It's great fun, but feels a little lost. Number 88, Sunset Riders. Contra in Stetsons. It's a faithful conversion of a classic arcade game. And it's a damn good blast in its own right. Go get her, partner. Sorry. Number 87, Wild Guns. It's an arcade-style game with no pretensions to be anything else. This target-led blaster has it over lethal enforcers. You don't get a gun, you can't even use a mouse, but it's still great. Number 86, Mickey Mania. From a technical and graphical point of view, this is one of the strongest Super Nintendo titles yet produced. And it plays almost as well as it looks, too. A great platform game, yes. Number 85, NBA Jam. NBA Jam Fever should sweep the nation if there's any justice. It's got slick gameplay, great visuals, and a hyper-addictive 4-player mode. Simple, yet compelling. Fun! Number 84, Xandra's Big Adventure. A wonderfully versatile and highly unusual game that, as a slightly bizarre trip into Japanese eccentricity and mysticism, it's hard to beat. Despite some infuriating sections, this is highly recommended, especially to hardcore game players. One thing is for certain, no one will finish this in a hurry. Number 83, Dragon. A different sort of fighting game, and tough enough to last. Dragon is certainly one to consider next time you get itchy fists. Number 82, Dungeon Master. A hugely interactive RPG by current Super Nintendo standards, but complicated and fiddly enough to put off many casual gamers completely. Despite being slower than the original, this is still, yes, you guessed it, a classic game. Even after all these years. Number 81, Civilization. Proof that appearance really can be deceptive. A totally absorbing but very complicated game. Prepare to say goodbye to your social life for many months. Number 80, Front Mission. Not for everybody, agreed, but Front Mission is the most playable war game ever to grace the Super Nintendo. It's also the finest game of the year to date. Number 79, Jim Connor's Pro Tennis Tour. A really great tennis game that simply begs to be played, especially with 4 players. Plenty of options, too. However, it does demand that you spend loads of time learning those controls. Number 78, Lemmings 2. A great Amiga game makes a great Super Nintendo game, too. Those with low frustration thresholds may need to approach it with caution, though. Number 77, Micro Machines 2. Not a game for the faint-hearted, perhaps, but a veritable laugh riot in multiplayer mode. Number 76, Septentrion. Original isn't a word you can chuck around liberally when talking about most Super Nintendo games, but Septentrion really is. In fact, despite its inspiration, buying this would be no disaster. Only if you can put up with the Japanese text. Number 75, Rock and Roll Racing. A perfect blend of racing thrills, explosions, and bouncy cars with huge shock absorbers. And just the right level of silliness thrown in for good measure. Since it's challenging in both 1 and 2 player mode, I'd say this one's a must for your collection.
Whoa, Cyril, wait.
Oh, hey Lorne.
Look, I don't mean to interrupt, but didn't Superplay say that Biker Mice from Mars was better than Rock and Roll Racing?
Yep, that's right. They said that in a matchup between Biker Mice and Rock and Roll Racing that the Martians were definitely the best.
And that game came in at 318, right?
Yeah, that's right. It earned a 71% if I remember correctly.
And Rock and Roll Racing got an 88%.
Okay, I see where you're going with this. You know, I was actually going to ask you about this because I just figured that best meant something different over in the UK than it does over here in the US.
Nope, I think it means the exact same thing. Here's an example. Superplay's Top 600 was definitely at its best when I was hosting.
You're still on that, I see.
Oh, I'm going to have my revenge, old man. You'll see. You'll all see.
Flicker is about to blow! Rapid dominating the race! Addams in the first!
Namco Rock and Roll Racing!
Number 74, Illusion of Gaia. Yes! Another action role-playing game worthy of some attention. It isn't the longest or most challenging title around, but it is utterly engaging, wonderfully playable, and rewarding in a way only these games can be. Number 73, Mega Man X. It's really just a 16-bit upgrade of the old NES game, though that's hardly a criticism. Smart graphics, neat idea, but it just falls short of being a classic. Number 72, Earthbound, an RPG that's very much more than the sum of its parts. If you've got the patience to suffer its crude elements, then prepare to be boggled. There's simply nothing like it on the Super Nintendo. Number 71, NFL Quarterback Club 96. Boasting more depth than Madden, and now significantly improved both on the field and presentation-wise, NFL Quarterback Club 96 must be worth serious consideration. Number 70, Putty Squad. Absolutely charming, with enough nice touches to fill 10 ordinary games. And it's miles better than Super Putty. Number 69, Striker. At last, the Super Nintendo has a decent football game, though this still isn't quite the match for sensible soccer on the Amiga. Number 68, NBA Showdown. It's faster than Madden and can get nearly as violent as Smash TV. And no matter how many times you slam dunk the ball and the crowd roars, you still feel good. For once, this is a sports sim that's great even if you don't like the actual sports. Although the league options means that rabid basketball fans will get their money's worth. Number 67, Soldiers of Fortune. Adrenaline, challenge, style, big guns. The 4 hallmarks of a quality game in my book. The bitmap bros come up trumps again. Number 66, Kirby Superstar. Pretty much everything you'd expect Kirby on the Super Nintendo to be. Slick, colorful, and addictive with a difficulty curve that's just on the wrong side of easy. Ignore his distinct lack of street cred and just enjoy another platform masterpiece, the like of which you won't find on any other platform, 16 or 32-bit. Number 65, NHL Hockey 94. If you've ever fancied a shot at ice hockey, well, now's your chance. This is the most playable and entertaining example out there. Number 64, FIFA International Soccer. A cracking conversion from the Mega Drive, plus some extra bits thrown in. Fantastic with a few friends, and a genuine contender. Number 63, Jurassic Park. The months of frenzied programming have paid off. Jurassic Park is just as ace as the film, which is high praise indeed. Number 62, Prince of Persia. Prince of Persia is a classic game, and the Super Nintendo version has been changed and improved from the original so much that it could be mistaken as a sequel. Don't miss it. Number 61, Mickey's Magical Quest. Gorgeous graphics, lovely sprites, bags of character, and far too easy. But I still love it to bits. Once again, pure quality from Capcom. Make no mistake about it. Number 60, Super Star Wars. Lots of levels, brilliant graphics, incredible music, and well-paced difficulty curve make this most accurate of film conversions one of the best. It's bugged by slowdowns on occasion, but not enough to spoil it. Number 59, Tiny Toon Adventures. An absolutely gorgeous-looking, fabulously presented cartoon platform game, with bags of imagination and enough tricky bits to keep you coming back for more. Superb! Number 58, Super Bomberman 3. A great game with a couple of excellent new multiplayer features that, nevertheless, remains overshadowed by the original. But I mean, we're dealing in the finer points here. Number 57, Cannon Fodder. It's a brilliant game, is Cannon Fodder, but there's too much trickiness and luck involved to give it that extra % that games crave. Number 56, Soul Blazer. Quintet, the creators of ActRaiser, have produced an extremely polished game here, with great graphics, decent puzzles, and a zany plot. If you can tolerate some laughable translations in this American version, it's good fun. Number 55, Zombies Ate My Neighbors. If you liked the incredibly strange creatures who stopped living and became mixed up zombies, director Ray Dennis Steckler, 1964, then you will appreciate this game. Even if you don't, you'll still find that it's an innovative shoot-'em-up with lasting appeal. Number 54, Sparkster. Games like this are fast becoming rarities. It has the style, imagination, surprises, and, of course, that vital helping of Konami's special ingredient X, a cracking game. Number 53, Desert Strike. A truly fabulous game with, prejudice notwithstanding, should be just as popular on the Super Nintendo as it was on the Mega Drive. It really hits the nail on the head and shows that Electronic Arts can do it on the Super Nintendo after all. Number 52, Addams Family, Pugsley's Scavenger Hunt. Brilliant graphics, great sound, lots of inventive bits, and a nicely pitched difficulty add up to one of Ocean's best ever. And finally, number 51, Chrono Trigger. You can't have a go of Chrono Trigger for falling slightly short of Final Fantasy standards. This is still a top-quality Square game. A paperback adventure of Final Fantasy's hardcover epic. Slightly more lightweight in nearly every department, it's still an essential purchase for RPG fans. So what did we learn from Superplay in this episode? Well, for one thing, I learned that the incredibly strange creatures who stopped living and became mixed-up zombies is a real B-rate horror movie from the 1960s from a director that went on to make movies as diverse as Nazi Sex Experiment and The Sexorcist. The other thing I was reminded of this week is how many of the Super Nintendo's earliest games weren't reviewed until a year or more after their first release. This was due to the first issue hitting newsstands in October of 1992, which was a good 2 years after the Super Famicom launched in Japan and a year after we got it here in the United States. As a result, we saw them comparing a lot of first-generation titles to what would come out a year or two later, such as bringing up Mario Kart in their F-Zero review. It makes me wonder if some of the earliest Super Nintendo games might have fared even better if the magazine launched maybe 12 or 13 months sooner. I mean, I have to imagine that F-Zero would have earned a slightly higher score, even if it was just a couple of percentage points. Sadly, we'll never know for sure. Now, one thing that I definitely know is that we'll be ending Superplay's Top 600 on Friday, December 31st. That's New Year's Eve for those of you who are bad with calendars. Not only will we be wrapping up all the storylines, we're also going to be counting down the 50 best reviewed Super Nintendo games. I mean, I'm talking about the best of the best, and let me tell you, it's a real fight for number one. I'm not gonna lie, I've already looked ahead, and without spoiling anything, I think it might be a controversial conclusion. Find out for yourself this Friday when we wrap up Superplay's Top 600. Now, if you'll excuse me, I need to figure out how to get off this island that I'm not actually on. Hey, thanks for watching this episode of Superplay's Top 600. If you liked what you saw here, then you should know that there's only one episode left. That's right, the series finale will go live on December 31st. Now is your chance to guess what you think the number one game is gonna be. In fact, that's the question of the day. Prediction: what game do you think will come in number one? Look, I'm sure you can go and look it up and pretend to be a real Nostradamus. But come on guys, where's the fun in that? I want to hear your genuine guesses, without the help of Google. Let me see your picks in the comments below. In other news, we'll be back later this week with a review of Horatio Goes Snowboarding, followed on Friday with the Superplay finale. If that sounds good to you, then I strongly recommend you click that subscribe button and support what we're doing here. Until then.